When Dove Cameron was just 15 years old, her family was struck by tragedy when her dad, Philip Alan Hosterman, took his own life. This happened on October 18, 2011, at the age of 67 in Bainbridge Island. Welcome to Riveted, and today we'll talk about the sad story of Dove Cameron's dad. You might want to grab a box of tissues for this one. Philip was a son of Philippe and Florence Hosterman and was born on July 22, 1944 in Seattle. He was one of 3 kids in the family and has a sister Mary and a brother Michael. He grew up in Seward Park, attending St. Edward, then Odeya High School. His love of music and entrepreneurial spirit was apparent early, and in high school, he played both piano and saxophone in professional gigs. Phil continued his education at the University of Portland, where his junior year abroad in Salzburg was a life-changing experience. He spent time in Afghanistan, and the experience in the country was also special to him. He earned his living as a jeweler and was a Peace Corps volunteer in Afghanistan. He realized that despite being trained as a water resource engineer, he loved to work with beauty. The man founded Kandahar Trading Company in 1972. Over time, Philip took a more active role in designing, and eventually, Kandahar evolved into an ethnic fashion accessories company with all of its production in India. Philip was married to Bonnie Wallace, and they tied the knot in Peshawar, Pakistan in 1988. He fathered her 2 daughters, Chloe, who is known now as Dove Cameron, and Claire. Bonnie Wallace is an expert consultant, writer, and producer. She uses her knowledge to motivate parents of other young actors, to inspire talented people to try their hands in acting, and to openly tell fans the truth about show business. Bonnie has already authored 2 books, The Hollywood Parents Guide and Young Hollywood Actors. She also hosts a Hometown to Hollywood podcast. Bonnie and Wallace shared 23 years together, but got divorced before he took his life. In case you're wondering where Dove developed her love of music, it was from her dad. In his younger years, Philip was also a musician and an adventurer. He encouraged his girls to love music and accompanied them on the piano while they were singing. Dove could sing songs from Rent at 3 and decided she wanted to act at 7. And after her parents divorced, she persuaded her mom to move to LA when she was just 14 because film and TV offered more roles for teens than theater. In 2016, Dove shared a photo of the late Philip Alan Hosterman, thanking him for the memories and wisdom he left behind. In the post, Dove calls Philip her best friend and the most beautiful man she's ever known. She concluded the long Instagram post by saying, "You still teach me lessons every day and make me laugh as the lessons you instilled at a young age begin to settle into my bones and make more sense. You set me up for the best life imaginable, and I plan to make you proud every single day and can't wait to see you again. Maybe in our next life as we find each other over and over. Forever, your best friend and your little girl." In a July of 2017 interview with Entertainment Weekly, Cameron opened up about the loss of her dad and revealed some surprising information about his lifestyle. There were always rumors that her dad was gay, but Dove came across evidence which confirmed that he was closeted. She finally understood why her dad was sensitive and sometimes had bursts of anger. The same year, she took to her Twitter to give the sentimental reason as to why she doesn't use her real name professionally. A fan on Twitter asked Dove how she came up with the name Dove, and the fan didn't realize that the response would need a whole box of tissues. Her father always called her Dove, and she changed the name to honor him. The name change has apparently helped Cameron connect further with her father, despite his tragic passing. People were saddened by this story, but they were also touched by the way she's letting her father live on through her name. Now, every time someone calls her name, Dove can remember her late dad. The death in 2011 greatly affected Dove Cameron, who had just started an acting career. The young star began living an extraordinary double life. On the outside, she looked like a very optimistic, bubbly person, but inside, she was a mess. Miserable, crying every night, not eating, so anorexic because all she wanted was approval. Dove also went through a phase of depression after her dad died, but she powered through the struggle by being the best actress she could be. At 15, she got into a horrendous relationship, her first real relationship, with a man she now describes as suffocating and controlling. The relationship with Ryan obviously didn't help much with dealing with the death, but we're glad she's now happy with Thomas Dougherty, who understands her. As much as the U.S. is open to LGBTQ+ members of the community still face a lot of challenges. Closeted individuals frequently can't acknowledge to themselves, let alone to others, their homoerotic feelings, attractions, and fantasies. There are few out role models to demonstrate that members of the LGBTQ+ community can freely exist in entertainment. And it's even worse in the business world. They still hide their private lives from colleagues and clients for fear of homophobia, exclusion, or in case they are overlooked for valuable promotions. Living as a gay man with a wife and 2 daughters was probably the biggest challenge Philip Hosterman had to face. It was even a bigger challenge after his daughter started landing major roles in the entertainment industry. Of course, people would dig deep into Dove's life, and such a story was huge, especially for trolls. The real reason why Philip Hosterman took his life has never been disclosed, but we bet it had something to do with either one of the following. Depression. Depression can make people feel great emotional pain and loss of hope, making them unable to see another way to relieve the pain other than ending their own life. According to the American Association of Suicidology, depression is present in about half of all suicides. Hopelessness. Hopelessness, either in the short term or as a longer-lasting trait, has been found in many studies to contribute to the decision to commit suicide. The person may be facing a social or physical challenge and see no way the situation can improve. Social isolation. A person can become socially isolated for many reasons, including losing friends or a spouse, undergoing a separation or divorce, physical or mental illness, social anxiety, retirement, or due to a move to a new location. Remember, he was also closeted, and most people who are closeted always fear being socially isolated. Can you believe that it's been 8 years since the Descendants star lost her dad? On October 18th, Dove Cameron revealed that she commemorated the 8th anniversary of her father's passing by visiting his favorite restaurant in Los Angeles, the Original Pantry Cafe. He used to send her coffee-stained postcards from there when she was a little girl that would live on their family fridge for months and years. Dove also said that she tried to order what he used to get in order to connect with him for the first time in nearly a decade. On the Instagram post, Dove wrote, "I have very few reminders of my life left of him, physical proof that he was even here. To begin with, it's almost like my life now and my life with him are two different lives, and I guess, for the most part, I've kept it that way on purpose. Not because I prefer it or I want to forget, but mostly because it's too painful to look at all the time." Many celebrities who've gone through the same path commented on Dove's post and sent her the encouragement she needed. For years now, Dove has been open about the impact suicide has had on her life. A while back, a fan by the name of Ash Rose wrote about how her friend took her own life, and 5 minutes later, Dove responded to the post. She shared her own experience and included some advice for Ash. Philip may no longer be in Dove's life physically, but his memory still lives on. We all know that Dove Cameron plans on making major steps in the film industry, and she hinted that she might make a movie about her late dad. This is a story that definitely needs to be told, and we're sure it will be an inspiration to many people who've lost someone special. There are a lot of things we don't know about Philip's life and everything he went through, and only the family can shade a light. We are eagerly waiting for that movie, Dove. Dove also found a way of remembering her dad through music. Her song Bloodshot speaks about loss and pain. Most people relate to the song as a heartbreak song, but to Dove, the song is more about the loss of her dad. Well, losing a parent is very heartbreaking regardless of the age at the time of the death. She's had a challenging life and still struggles with anxiety. Dove has refused to let her dark past determine the path of her life. In one of her interviews, she said, "It was like I refused to have that darkness in my life anymore because I knew what it was like to go to the darkest possible place. And because of that, you get really clear on what matters and what doesn't. That's been such a blessing." The terrifying truth is, dealing with the loss of a loved one can be difficult for anyone, and even more so if their passing is connected to mental illness or suicide. Experts agree that talking about suicide and breaking down the stigma surrounding it is crucial, not only to helping people cope after suicide, but to preventing it. The good thing is that today, we have several platforms where people can talk about suicide cases, and we came across a few online. If you or someone you know may be at risk for suicide, you can call the Trevor Project's 24/7 Trevor Lifeline at 1-866-488-7386 or the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline at 1-800-273-8255. Other countries outside the U.S. also have numbers and centers where people can seek help. No man is perfect, and Philip definitely had flaws in his life. Dove revealed that he was a kind and sensitive person, but had bursts of anger from time to time. The tribute on Phil's obituary said that Philip had a generous, spontaneous spirit. His sense of humor was youthful and impulsive, and everyone he touched has favorite stories. He often said that being a parent was the best thing that ever happened to him, and that his favorite years in his life were when he was raising his girls. May he continue resting in peace. Thank you for watching, and remember to check back tomorrow for another video. This has been Riveted.